All right, so 2022's Violent Night is directed by Tommy Wirkola, written by Pat Casey and Josh Miller, and stars David Harbour himself as Santa Claus. If you haven't seen a trailer for this movie or just don't know the plot in general, basically it is a home invasion slash heist movie where you have these villains breaking into the house of a very rich family on Christmas Eve, trying to steal millions of dollars from a vault that they have there. And who is the person that is going to stop them? None other than Santa Claus. This movie gives off heavy John Wick vibes. This is basically kind of a John Wick movie, but instead of John Wick, it's Santa Claus, which I think is genius. I think it's awesome. I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with this movie, and I'll get into why in a minute here. But I do want to talk about some other cast members here. We also have John Leguizamo as Scrooge. We have Alex Hassel as Jason Lightstone. We have Alex Louder as Linda. We have Eddie Patterson as Alvo Lightstone. We have Leah Brady as Trudy Lightstone. Who else do we have here? Cam Gigandet, hopefully I'm saying that right, as Morgan Steele. Beverly Angelo as Gertrude Lightstone, which if you're not familiar with that actress, she was actually the wife in the National Lampoons movie. And I'm sure a lot of people, when they think of National Lampoons, think of National Lampoons Christmas Vacation, another very popular Christmas movie. But yeah, who else do we have here? That's pretty much the main cast for you. You get the Lightstone family in there along with the villain, John Leguizamo, who plays Scrooge. But yeah, it's a really fun film. I don't know if I said this already, but a lot of people are comparing it to Die Hard, which, crazy to say this, I know, but I haven't seen Die Hard. I haven't seen any of them. Might actually watch that fairly soon for the holiday season because a lot of people consider it to be a Christmas movie. So might check that out soon, see how similar this movie is to that. But what else are people comparing it to? Kind of comparing it to Home Alone and then also John Wick as well, as I said before. But yeah, the real thing that people are going to want to know about is, how did David Harbour do as Santa Claus? Do you even have to ask? He was absolutely amazing in this role. It's the kind of thing that makes me never want to see anybody else play Santa Claus again other than David Harbour. Even if it's a completely different kind of movie and it's not violent, I just want to see David Harbour as Santa Claus, honestly. Now, another question people are going to be asking, is this a holiday classic? Is this like an instant classic? For me personally, absolutely. I mean, does that kind of spoil how I feel about this movie? Yes, but I'll kind of get into some things I really like and then some things I kind of don't like as well, because it's not all just good, in my opinion. But yeah, this is something I could see myself watching every Christmas. It has the heart of a Christmas movie while also having the violence of a very much adult, fun movie that I typically kind of enjoy. Stuff like, Nobody with, oh shoot, why can't I think of his name at the moment? You know who I'm talking about, the guy who played Better Call Saul. Shoot. I can't think of his name at the moment. By the way, it's really windy outside. Sorry about that. But, yeah. Man. Can't think of his name, but if you saw Nobody, you know who I'm talking about. If you've seen Better Call Saul, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Really mad that I can't remember his name at the moment. But yeah, there's a movie called Nobody, which is actually by the same people who made John Wick. So it has a very similar tone for the most part, but has a little bit more fun with it, I would say, like a little more comedy than John Wick. John Wick, I wouldn't say takes itself way too seriously, but it obviously takes itself a lot more seriously than something like Violent Night, that is for sure. And I also want to talk about a movie, I believe it came out in 2020. It was called Fat Man, where you had Mel Gibson playing Santa Claus there. And this movie right here is the kind of movie I wish that one would have been. Even before I watched Violent Night, I knew this would be the kind of movie that I wished that one would have been. The issue with that movie, if you haven't seen it, you have this plot of a kid trying to kill Santa Claus, essentially. Crazy, I know. Just as crazy, if not, more crazy than the plot of this one. And in that movie, they take itself so seriously. They take themselves so seriously to where it doesn't feel like you're really having fun. You're watching like a serious fucking drama about Santa Claus, and that's not what anybody wants. And yeah, I knew immediately from seeing this trailer, I instantly thought of that movie. I'm like, this is going to be what that movie should have been. And after watching the film, I can confirm that is how I feel. Yeah, there's just so much fun to be had in this movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously at all. There's a lot a lot of comedy that really lands. By the way, I've barely even looked at my notes so far, and I have a lot of notes, but yeah, pretty much all the comedy in here lands. There's a couple moments, especially one towards the beginning, where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that one, but you know what? I'm gonna let it slide. It's still funny for the most part. But there's a couple moments in there with the humor where I'm just like, all right, is that what we're really doing? I mean, obviously there's cheesy humor. If you saw the trailer, he says stuff like seasons beatings and shit like that. There's cheesy one-liners, but I don't mind that kind of stuff because coming from David Harbour as Santa Claus, that shit is fucking hilarious. That is the most funny thing I've ever seen in a movie like this. That's the funniest shit I've ever seen a Santa Claus say in general. That being said, I've seen a little bit of Bad Santa. I haven't really watched a whole lot of that, but there are elements of that movie in here, kind of. There are elements of Home Alone in here. There are elements of, Die Hard, like I said before. There's a lot of different elements and different little Easter eggs and little inspirations that they took from different Christmas movies. Some people could say that they're just kind of maybe not ripping it off, but like overdoing it. I've heard a few different opinions on the movie where they say a lot of those types of things are a little bit overdone in the film. I wouldn't agree with that. In fact, I mean, I've watched a good amount of Christmas movies. I wouldn't say they overdo it in here at all. I think, the Home Alone one is the one that you're going to notice the most in the movie if you haven't watched it yet. The like references to that. There's references to Die Hard, like legit like name drops of like Die Hard and Home Alone in this movie. And the funny thing is they do similar things to those movies in here. But yeah, let me tell you a little bit more about the plot. You have John Leguizamo as Scrooge, and I'm not gonna get like too deep with any like character motives or anything. I wanna save that for the theater experience for you guys. But basically, you have him along with his group of mercenaries, I guess you could say. You have people like Krampus, Gingerbread, Candy Cane, Sugar Plum. They all have fun names like that. And I hate that it reminded me of this, but it kind of reminded me of the first Paul Blart Mall Cop movie where it was set around Christmas, and like you had all those different like kind of mercenary type dudes just trying to steal shit in the mall. Like it's so fucking funny to me that it reminded me of Paul Blart. And I think there was even a moment in there where they talked about like a mall cop or something like that. I'd have to watch it again to like catch the reference, but maybe they did reference that actually. That'd be fucking hilarious. But like, yeah, it's hilarious that it made me think of Paul Blart Mall Cop too. Yeah, that's the kind of shit I used to watch. Honestly, I'd love to watch that movie again just to like completely shit on it. But yeah, if you want me to do that, comment down below. You know what? That'd be a really fun movie to do around the holiday season. That'd be fun. Kind of like not your typical thing. People typically think like, oh, Home Alone, Elf, stuff like that. So I kind of like these more kind of different Christmas movies that have different takes on stuff. There's one that I want to review. I almost don't even want to put the name out there. But it's called Jack Frost from 1977. Probably going to be doing a review for that soon. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. But and it's not the one with Michael Keaton. Just to preface that. But let me actually look at some of my notes here. Just because I'm kind of going in circles a little bit. But the action goes hard. Is it as good as John Wick action? No. And the only reason it's not is because of the way that it's shot. The cuts are kind of quick at times. It doesn't always show exactly what you want to see. And also at times, because it's not like, I mean, I'm sure it had a pretty good budget, but it's not, I don't think it quite had the budget of a John Wick film. So at times, some of the stuff can look a little fake. But like the fakeness of it just adds to the cheesiness of the movie, which overall I think really works because it is kind of a parody in a way, but it's very much its own thing as well. It stands apart from other movies, not only other movies like this, but other like Christmas movies in general. Oh, I almost dropped my light there. But yeah, let me look at this. Especially towards the climax of the film, like it does slow down a little bit towards the middle, which is one of my complaints with the movie. It's close to 2 hours long. It's like an hour and 52 minutes. I don't think it needs to be quite that long, especially in the middle when it slows down. I don't know, because with the situation that's going on in the movie, I feel like there needs to be a sense of urgency, and stopping to do stuff just doesn't feel, I don't know. But at the same time, they kind of show that Santa Claus isn't just like some indestructible beast. They show that he can get hurt, he can bleed, so he has to kind of like take a minute to recoup, you know? So I like that aspect, not just making him, you know, OP, you know, overpowered. Um, which is easy to do with a character that has magic, but they have explanations on why he can't always use his magic, why he can't always call on his reindeer and just get on his sleigh and go away. You know, there's reasons for that. There's always something that keeps him there. And one of the things that's keeping him in the situation more than anything is this little girl, Trudy. You know, she's literally the only good person in this family. Everybody else, for the most part, kind of sucks. Linda, she's not too bad. She's the mom to Trudy. Jason is the father, and you know the mom and father are kind of having marital issues. Not sure if they're separated or not. But yeah, I mean Trudy, she essentially is the heart of the film. The actress, the one who plays her, Leah Brady, she does a fantastic job in the film. She's a great character. Very fucking amazing scene with her towards kind of middle to end of the movie, where she's up in an attic, and yeah, that's all I'll say. She has an amazing scene in this movie. That's just like one of my fucking favorite scenes in this movie, if not my favorite. And from other reviews I've heard, that's a lot of other people's favorite scene too. It's fantastic. But yeah, Trudy. I mean, she's the only real person there that you're rooting for. Everybody else is shitty, and you know that's the reason why Santa's there. He would have left if not for her. Because everybody else in that family is just a complete piece of shit. Other than the mother and father, I mean, they have their things that kind of make them not completely great, but like not as bad as the rest of the family. The worst one by far is Alva Lightstone. I thought it'd be Gertrude. Gertrude's terrible, but Alva, the sister, worst human being. I hated her from start to finish, and I wanted her to die so bad. But yeah, let me see here. Might have to flip this real quick. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. Don't think so. So on the back here, they do have fun with the magic of Santa, like the magic he's able to use. They use it sparingly. Not completely sure if that's just a budget thing. They weren't able to do as much CGI, but the magic that they do use, they have a lot of fun with. And I like that they use it sparingly because, again, if he were able to have his full capabilities, it would be over in a second, most likely. So, yeah, I like that. By the way, the family in here kind of reminded me of the family from Knives Out. Just how they all bicker with each other. They have like a kind of fancy last name. They're all rich and shit like that. Definitely gave me Knives Out vibes. We do get a little bit of an origin for Santa, not a whole lot in here, but it's very interesting what they do with that, and it makes me curious on what they could do going forward with the character if they decided to do a sequel or a prequel, which I'd hope they just go for a sequel and not feel like they have to like fully indulge in the backstory because that would just be too much. But yeah, they do give him a little bit of an origin. They keep it ambiguous enough. But they kind of like explain why he is the way he is, which I freaking loved. Let me see here. I think I already said this, but I could easily see myself rewatching this every Christmas. Oh yeah, I'm very embarrassed. Most of the time I go to these movies alone, and the theater was relatively packed. It was a Friday, so I mean, typical. I was sitting there alone. I was in one of the front rows. Not a whole lot of people in my row, but a lot of people behind me. And I was so loud watching this movie. I was just like audibly reacting to like almost everything, which at times, maybe not even at times, it's annoying. But the thing that made me happy is that I definitely wasn't the only one in the theater just like audibly just reacting to the movie. Everybody was having such a fun time with it, to the point where it did make me feel better about being a little bit loud. I wasn't the only one, that's for sure. But yeah, a lot of people were having fun with it in the theater. It's a very good theater going experience, especially when there's a lot of people there. So for that reason, I would definitely recommend seeing it as soon as possible with a good amount of audience members in there. But yeah, let me see. But yeah, I was being very loud with the movie, and a lot of times when I'm audibly reacting to movies like this, it means I'm just having a really, really good time. It just means I'm just having like one of the most fun times I've had in a while. I honestly like I do this with movies sometimes, not to this extent though. I was like audible from start to finish with this movie almost. Um, and I can already hear people in the comments below saying like, "Oh, you're that annoying person who talks during the movie." Not always, no. Only when a movie is like really getting a lot of energy out of me. Um, I don't know. It's just something I do, I guess, and I maybe I should stop doing it. Okay, I know I have a problem. Um, but what was I gonna say? But yeah, I don't know the last movie where I've had this much fun in the theater. Like, of course, there's a lot of really great movies I watched this year, a lot of really fun theater going experiences, but I don't think there's been any movie so far this year that's made me that energetic and just like into it, I guess. I don't know. Would I say it's my favorite movie of the year? No, but it's probably going to be my top 10. And if you watch my review for Fablemans, you're probably thinking to yourself right now, this motherfucker is putting Violent Night in his top 10, but not the Fablemans. Yeah, because these are my types of movies most of the time. And a lot of the time, the types of movies that end up on my top 10 favorites of any particular year aren't typically movies that I was anticipating going into the year. And this one is one I probably didn't even really know about going into it. So, yeah, definitely going to end up on my list for sure. I think it has to because this is one of the most fun times I've had in the theater all year, honestly. And that's saying a lot because I've been to a lot of fucking movies and had a lot of fun throughout the year. But yeah, this one's just, I love it. But yeah, let me see here. At the end of the day, my only real complaints are aside from Santa killing terrorists. Wait, what? Oh yeah, let me see. This is the problem with me reading my own shit sometimes. At the end of the day, my only real complaints are aside from Santa killing terrorists, this pretty much is a generic heist slash home invasion movie. If you take Santa out of the equation, this is kind of just your typical kind of movie like that. You could really put any hero in there, and I mean, would it have the same effect as Santa Claus with David Harbour as Santa Claus at that? No, it wouldn't. If it were anybody else in this movie wouldn't have worked as well. If it were from if the hero were a different type of character, this movie probably wouldn't have worked as well. You probably could have had the Christmas theme in there still, but it just wouldn't have. It basically would have been a ripoff of Die Hard at that point. And that's coming from somebody who hasn't seen Die Hard, but essentially, that's the kind of shit we're dealing with. A kind of heist movie, kind of action movie set on Christmas. So yeah, without Santa Claus in here, it would be a much different movie, and without David Harbour as Santa Claus in here, it'd be an even much more different movie. And he honestly makes it. But there's a lot of really heartfelt moments in this movie that remind you of the type of heartfelt moments you get from other Christmas movies. So in my opinion, this is a new Christmas classic. I will be watching this every year for sure. But yeah, I actually didn't say my other complaints here. My bad. Just a little bit longer than it needs to be. I think I said that before, an hour and 52 minutes. I think that could have been cut down to maybe like an hour and 45 with credits, possibly. Just cut out some of that, some of those slow parts towards the middle there. And I think you'd have a pretty tight film there. But let me see. There is a very short, not very important post-credit scene. For those of you who don't understand post and after credit scene, I know it can get confusing, honestly. It's no big implications towards the sequel or anything. It's just a fun kind of little stinger. When the movie ends and then it has like the credits pop up with like the actors and stuff, but it's not like the credits rolling down. It's like it has the nice backgrounds and the artwork and whatnot. That is like the post credits. So like after that is when you get the post credit scene. And then after you get the credits that roll down, black and white typical credits that you see, that's the after credit scene. So there is a bit of a post-credit scene, about like 15 seconds long or so, about like a minute and a half into the credits, when he first get to the credits, I guess, if I'm making any sense right now. Nothing too important that you need to see, but it is kind of funny. So maybe worth sticking around for extra maybe 3 minutes or so. Um, but yeah, I would love a sequel to this. And could they capture lightning in a bottle twice? I think it's possible. A lot of times with sequels, that's not often the case, but I think it has potential to go places and have more interesting stories along the way, and also kind of build upon the stories that they've already kind of set up a little bit. So yeah, overall, I do have a new film ranking system. So yeah, I think you guys would have heard it in my Fableman's review. Maybe not. No, because I did a normal like 1 out of 10 because I didn't have it ready. But yeah, new film ranking system. I know I've been changing it quite a lot recently if you've been watching the videos recently. But yeah, only 4 tiers, making it super simple. So yeah, at the top I have premium ticket. Jeez, it's getting windy. Premium ticket, the type of movie that is really worth watching in the theater as soon as possible, and worth paying extra for, whether that be for IMAX or 3D or whatever that might be. Tier below that, I have standard ticket, worth the price of admission, good, not great. Tier below that, I have discounted tickets. So yeah, basically discounted ticket, worth going to see if the price is discounted. Not a bad movie, but not good. So yeah. Tier below that, final tier, is free tickets, and it's only worth watching if it's free. Pretty much as bad as it gets. So yeah, trying to keep it super simple with the movie ranking system. Again, probably going to change over time because I'd like to kind of shift it into kind of being my own thing and being interesting and making it unique. For now, it's just basic, but hey, it's better than 1 out of 10, I believe, in my opinion, at least. So overall, at this particular moment, after maybe like an hour tops of being back from the movie, I have to put it in premium ticket. Maybe after watching it one other time and after sitting with it for longer, it'll be a standard ticket. But as for right now, this is one of my favorite movies of the year. I highly recommend watching it as soon as you possibly can. I'm glad I got to it when it was, when it first came out, so I can tell people to watch it as soon as they possibly can. I know last week I was behind on movies, and this week I'm kind of catching up a bit. But yeah, I would love to know what you guys thought of the movie. If you have seen it, down in the comments below. Please, for the love of God, do not spoil anything. If you do spoil anything, I'll delete your comment, and yeah, see what I can do from there. Maybe report you. I don't know. I don't want to do all that, but yeah, just don't be a jerk down in the comments. Just tell me how you thought, what you thought of the movie, whether you liked it or didn't like it, and then just like some basic non-spoiler stuff that you didn't like. So yeah, and if you haven't seen it, are you planning on watching it this holiday season? Why or why not? I would love to know down in the comments below. Really, anything you want to comment down below, I'd love to hear from you. Most of the time when I see a comment, I do reply to it, so there's a good chance I will reply to whatever you say to me. But at times I feel like there's comments that I just do not see on my videos. I think I have to go in and like change some settings or something like that. But I feel like there's times where, because I'll like look at a video that I just posted and it'll say that it has a comment, but then I go to actually click on something and like see what the comment is, and then there's just nothing there. So I don't know what that's all about. And then I try to like, for those of you who are like, you do anything on YouTube and use YouTube Studio, you'll know like, you can filter your comments and try to look through and look at ones like held for review. And even those aren't, even that, it's like not held for review. It's just not there. I don't know what the deal with that is. So if I ever don't respond to anything, there's a good chance that I probably just don't see it for whatever reason. So again, I'll try to have to figure out how to change those settings if possible. But yeah, comment down below if you know how to do that. I'll probably just have to look up a tutorial. Probably shouldn't be that hard though. But yeah, leave a like on the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And I will see you in the next one with my very short review for Disney's Strange World. See you in the next one.